Okay, hey there, anybody on the YouTubes? I just wanted to do a little updated solar tour on my recent upgrades that I did. Got this nice little storage box because I had taken up most of the space in this little bench seat with solar equipment. But I still need to trim this down a little bit, and I'm probably going to put a little piece of mold on the front of there so you don't see the end grain of the plywood. I'm going to take this off and show you what I've got, what I put together here. That's a little nice tight fit. So, hope you can see it. Got these 12 volt 300 amp hour batteries from Temu. The brand's called Dumfume. Interesting, right? It's pretty cool. But anyway, I saw some comments on a review on this brand battery. The 100 amp hour battery performs very well and is as advertised as far as storage goes, but in the comments I saw some of these 300 amp hour batteries or the Dumfume 300 amp hour batteries are actually using 280 amp hour cells. There's 4 cells in these batteries, if you don't know. Typically for these 12 volt batteries they're 3.2 volt cells, 4 of them in series. But yeah, I got them really cheap though. If you've ever shopped on Temu, you might understand there's a lot of fucking cheap deals. Or coupons. You gotta buy stuff to be able to use coupons. One of these batteries, the first one I got, I thought it was a scam, but I tried it anyway. Battery showed up, seemed legit enough, so I bought another one. The first one I got there was already like a, I don't know, like a 20% discount or something on it. And then on top of that, I bought something for like $15. It was a 1 terabyte micro SD card. I did not know that existed. But if that's incredible if it actually is that. I've been kind of worried to plug it into my phone. This is just gonna take all my information. I don't know why. I shouldn't be worried about that. At the same time, I'm cautious about those things. The other battery I bought with this new inverter I got, it's a 5,000 watt inverter. I made the mistake again of getting a modified sine wave inverter, which makes a funny noise when I plug my computer makes a funny noise when I plug it into it. So I do have a solution I'll show you in a minute. But anyway, I got these 2 batteries in parallel. Upgraded the 2 solar panels on the back of my bus. Originally I had 2 100 watt panels on the front and 2 100 watt panels in the back on separate charge controllers. These are PWM charge controllers, pulse width modulation, and they don't work well with lithium ion batteries or lithium iron phosphate. They will charge them, they just don't monitor them as efficiently as these newer ones do. MPPT charge controllers, or multi-power point tracking is what it stands for. So I already had this one. This one used to be my ground deploy solar panels, but now it controls my upgraded panels on the back. I upgraded to 2 190 watt solar panels. And it gives me a nice little boost. And then this other one I bought just so I have more MPPT. These other my old ones, I still have my old batteries here as a backup system. With only thing I have running on it is the charge controllers, which I can put DC loads to for backup. If my main system goes down, I can have like a little light in here, or if it's cold, a little heater that goes to warm these batteries up. And I have one of my old inverters still plugged into that. But anyway, so I also bought some circuit breakers for the solar coming in before they go into the charge controllers. These are the two. This one goes here, this one goes here, and this one is one of my ground deploys that plugs into the outside of the bus. And the other charge controller, I just have MC4 connectors right here dangling for if I need to charge up my backup power. Yeah, and I'm wired in to my outlets, so I have an outlet on the roof of my bus for powering my mobile stage, and then it goes to my kitchen, and then it goes to an exterior right next to my door, off of this was it circuit block, fuse block, not fuse block, anyway, I'll let that slide. I'll remember it later probably. But I had to upgrade to a bigger bus bar and a bigger cutoff switch, and I actually have a nice big fuse in here. It's probably too big. These are all rated to 600 amps, but I don't think I'll ever get close to that. This 500 amp shunt, which is Bluetooth to my phone, which is really cool, and I'll go into that here shortly. I'll probably just do that now. And this is the app on Android. You can see I'm at 100% state of charge. Voltage is right up there at the top, 13.87. And every now and then you'll see it just kind of float in a little bit of power coming in. See that 0.12? Every now and then it kind of trickles in. And it's just kind of doing a little balancing thing right now. So these batteries, originally I put in 600 amp hours of storage, and that's 7,600 watt hours, or 7.6 kilowatts. And what I want to do here for you is change that, kind of show you that. Anyway, we'll go over here. This is history. I reset it just before I drain the battery all the way down, or after I drain the battery down. I wanted to see how many kilowatts of storage it actually can handle, because of what I was describing earlier, how these 300 amp hour batteries from Dumfume are actually using 280 amp hour cells. So it's a bit of a, false advertising in a way, but I still got a hell of a deal, even though that they're 280 amp hours instead of 300 amp hours. Combined, I paid like about $470 for the two batteries. Of course, I spent a whole bunch of other money to get the deals that low. The coupons require purchases to activate, so I bought a whole bunch of stuff off Temu. I probably bought 15 items over the course of a few weeks, and what I got off Temu is the two batteries, the big 500 watt inverter underneath this box, the two solar panels on the back, 190 watts each of the solar panels, and they were only like $100 each. And some other stuff that just I bought a new blender, it has a food processor, and I don't have one, and I've been wanting one. But I bought a wok to cook on, and like a magnet to clean up a job site, stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going to get back to this instead of rambling on. I had to get these components here from I'll get you a better shot after I go over this phone stuff. It's from Amazon, because I couldn't find exactly what I needed to make this work properly and safely, even though I might get a smaller fuse to put here, because 600 amp hours isn't gonna protect me from anything other than, like, I don't know, a big surge. I don't know if it would protect me from a lightning strike or something. But anyway, so you can see here I cleared my accumulative data on here. You can do that up here in the settings, down here at the bottom, or maybe it's not at the bottom, it's just in here somewhere. Yeah, right here where my thumb is. Clear cumulative data. You can see my battery is at 100% state of charge, and then this synchronized to 100 and synchronized to 0. What I did is I drained my battery down to, let me show you here in the history section. You can see the minimum battery voltage, 9.5 volts. It might be too low. Tell me if I shouldn't have done that, if I'm going to do this in the future again, or if I'm going to help somebody with theirs. Is 9.5 volts too low, or could I have gone lower? I had my charge controller with the DC load set to turn off probably at like 10 volts. So it turned off, and I was running my air conditioner, and it was still running my air conditioner when I came in, but the inverter was beeping at me for like a low voltage alarm. Yeah, so here's that. I set, go back to here, and I'm going to change a couple settings. So like I said, I drained the battery all the way to 9.5 volts, and then I hit this button here, clear accumulative data, and then I don't know why this number here is on discharge energy instead of charged energy, but this has been going up ever since I drained the battery all the way down, and it took about 4 days for me to charge from 0% to 100, which I could put a couple more panels on the front up top, but they're not mounted. I would just be like an expandable thing. I could charge a little faster if I needed to. Anyway, so now you know. Yeah, that's the accumulative charge. If the batteries were actually 300 amp hour batteries, I would have been able to charge 7.6 kilowatts of power into my batteries, but that wasn't the case. So I need to change this number here, my total kilowatts of power, to 7.2 kilowatts. That's how much actual storage I have, total battery power right here. And then I'm going to change my battery capacity. I feel like if you change one, it should change both automatically, but I don't know. I guess you can have different, but I'm going to show you how I calculated. I took some screenshots. I'll go back to the beginning here. So these are screenshots of that was my first little thing. And I took these pictures last night. The battery finished charging yesterday, I do believe. I came here to show you what the battery voltage was yesterday at 8:51 p.m. It was already at resting. So this wasn't when the battery charged. This was already after dark, and the battery returned to resting voltage, or started to return to resting voltage. it goes all the way back down to 3.3 by the time morning rolls around. Anyway, so here I am. I wanted to show you calculation for how you calculate your amp hours. My battery capacity comes out to 56 or 563.3 or 0.4 amp hours. I'm just gonna put in 563 amp hours. So we'll go do that real quick. 563. We don't need the 0.3, I don't think, because over time it'll slowly dwindle down. Alright, so I changed that and I changed that. I was wanting to do that, I just wanted to show you. So those are my settings changed. You can change the alarm settings. Tell me if I need to change this high voltage alarm from 14 volt down to like just 13.9 or 13.8 and whatnot. So yeah, that's that. And the trending, you can just, I don't know, you can just see it on a graph, I guess, but I don't really understand how these bottom functions work. If you know how these bottom functions work, let me know. Maybe I'll just turn on my air conditioner and you can see what's going on here. Another thing I like about my new inverters, I got a little button. A is off or A is on and B is off. So my camera cut off on me. I had the air conditioner on for a minute, and you can see here I'm float charging again. And now my amp hours remaining is more accurate that I've changed it, or it should be. I don't know why it's actually that high, because I did change it to the 7.2. Oh, it's up here in the settings. I did change it. Yep, it shows I changed it to 563 amp hours and 7.2 kilowatts. But yeah, anyway, you see I'm charging here. I'm gonna turn this back on and turn my air conditioner on so you can see the power kick on my device instantly. So the current here, the amps, really should have been up in the 40 amps range, I think. Actually no, it shows almost 300 watts. That's pretty normal for my air conditioner. And then once the voltage goes low enough, my solar panels will start actually charging rather than just floating. Let me check. I'm looking at my charge controller right now. It still says it's 0 amps. Okay, my other charge controller is reading 12 amps right now, so that one's doing all the lifting right now. So it's pulling 12 amps straight from the solar panels. And I guess this is just coming out of the battery. Maybe. It's my kitchen outlet. Press the button and the outlets come alive. Beautiful thing. Yeah, that's my new setup here. Old panel. New panels. Also got here, I don't know if you can see it, 12 volt, 19 volt TV going through this 12 volt to 19 volt converter that I had powered. I set it up a few months ago and I had my computer running off it, but the TV was running off the 12 volt power, but I moved this from over here to over here because I wanted this running off of my new, or not my new, my MPPT charge controller, since I was running off lithium now. Yeah, I was going to show you my pure sine wave solution. You may or may not have seen, I have this little power bank. Works great. I got 4 fold out panels that can charge it up in about an hour or two. And the thing is, I'd have to bring it outside to plug a solar panel into it or charge it off the grid. Those are my only 2 options. Until I bought this little $10 12 gauge wire. Plugs right into my DC. And you stick her right in there into the solar input and it charges. So I guess that's what I'll be plugging my desktop into, unless I get some kind of laptop or something to do video stuff. I was waiting for it to go all the way up to 100 watts to show you it charges at 100 watts, which is better than setting up one 100 watt solar panel for it. Anything else I wanted to share? Yeah, I got my grid power charging, 120 to 12 volt converter, and my DC to DC charge controller, or maybe it's a converter as well, I'm not sure. This was my old one I had plugged into my starter battery. I don't know if this one's good for lithium. It doesn't have any settings on it, it just has the terminals. But I think I'll repurpose it to charge my lead acid batteries off of my lithium batteries, on the off chance that I need to charge my backup lead acid batteries and don't have time to set up my ground deploy solar panels. So that's a maybe, something coming, something that I might do in the future. It's not a necessary thing. I'm just a fan of redundancy, if you haven't been able to tell already. Having 4 charge controllers, and the charger off the starter battery and the grid power charging, having 2 separate power banks. I used to have 3 inverters hooked up. You can probably see one down here. It's still plugged into my backup power. And then there was one over here. The other one was hung on this wall here before. I usually had my air conditioner running off that one. And the big one I had down here was plugged in, or I had wired into my outlets. The terminal block, I think maybe is what it's called. And I shorted it out. It can probably be fixed, so if somebody's willing to replace the MOSFET fuses on the inside. I took it apart and looked at it, and it was pretty complicated and looked extensive. The videos I saw of people replacing MOSFETs on inverters didn't look too bad, but most of them were smaller inverters. They were like 1,000 watt, maybe 1,500 watt inverters, and the one I had was 3,000 watt inverter, but it was really old. It didn't even specify. I bought it used from a friend, but so I didn't have a box or directions or anything like that. So, but on the logo and stuff on the inverter itself, they usually have either modified sine wave or pure sine wave, and this didn't say anything about that. I guess it was just so old that pure sine wave wasn't even a thing, maybe? Surely it was. But anyway, I'll show you how I shorted it so you don't make the same mistake. This is the plug. This is the the male end of my AC to DC converter, and it's always hooked up to my, like the DC side is always hooked up to my battery, and this side I just plug in to the shore power female end on the inside. I have it an inlet on the outside of the bus that I plug an extension cord into, but the other end of it just plugs. I have this plugged into it. It's just it's just the female, so you plug right into it. So to prevent that from happening, I just put a piece of shrink wrap over it, and I'm just gonna keep that like that unless I'm using it. And I have a little what, oh, man, why can't I think of names? Power strip. I just have a power strip permanently plugged into the other end of that, and I might just keep this plugged into it normally under normal circumstances. Just so when I'm plugged into grid power, I just come down there and hit the switch and it charges. Anyway, I feel like I've gone on for far too long. If you're thinking about setting up solar, little 12-volt system and stuff, and have some questions or something, I'm open to helping you out. Or if you want to hire me to come hook your stuff up, I'll say I'm not a electrician by any means, but this stuff's real cool, and I've been researching it for several years now and played with my stuff here, and I think I've done an alright job. Let me know if you got any questions or if you want any help. So without further ado, peace, unity.